Well, I'll go ahead and begin. My name is Jessica Curtis. I'm an adult reference librarian at the Westerville Public Library, and I'm one of the leads for helping the immigrant and refugee populations, foreign language, anything like that in the library, both with materials and programming. And one of the things that the Westerville Library wanted to share with any and everybody who might be helping either a group or an individual in this situation, we just wanted to share library materials, sources, and essentially free stuff that might be hard to find otherwise. So I'm going to share with you different ways to find literacy tools, language tools, and even job help with somebody who might be a new American, be it immigrants, refugees, anybody else who fits that category. So to begin with, and remember the 2020 census isn't out yet, so these numbers will probably change. But as of right now, just in Ohio, immigrants make up about 4% of Ohio residents, and that is not counting unregistered folks. So this number is probably drastically low. And 4% of the population of students have immigrant parents, and about half of all immigrants in Ohio are actually naturalized citizens. So that's pretty good odds. But those numbers change depending on where you are in Ohio. So if you're in a rural part of Ohio, it may not be 4%. If you're in some place like Columbus, Westerville, or any of the suburbs, it may be much, much higher for that particular demographic. So just depending on where you are in the state, in the nation, anywhere, these numbers will differ. And a very good place to find those numbers, if you're ever wondering or looking for statistics, be it for grants or just information, school systems. School systems know this stuff because they're the ones who are teaching the children. So they tend to have the secret details. Now again, Westerville we are in a specific location. And this is information from the Community Refugee and Immigration Services. So just in Westerville, these are some of the largest populations of potential new Americans in our area. And again, this information will shift depending on where you are on the planet or piece of Earth. But all of these groups have different languages, they have different cultures, and they may even have different needs because some may be English speaking. And so they may not have a big need for literacy and may need to focus more on, say, job seeking or citizenship, whereas others, English as a second language is a really big deal, and then the others follow. So again, it's all about homework for where you are. And this is a shameless plug at this moment to use your local library if you are in need of statistics. So we are free research. The other place that can help you or anybody else find information, especially if somebody's speaking to you and maybe you don't cover a particular area or service need. There are other groups, services, agencies in the area, again, just depending on where you are, that may be able to fill a need that you can't service. So just in the Columbus Westerville area, here's a group called Us Together. So you can see some of the different things they have: the employment services, elder care, interpretation services, citizenship, refugee support, all of that. So again, a lot of times somebody else has already done the legwork or has access to resources. And groups like these tend to like to share, so they're not trying to hoard. Oftentimes resources like this are already overrun. So if there's somebody else that can jump on the bandwagon and help, they're interested. Here's another one that is specific to a particular group. So the Ethiopian Tawahedo Social Services. So again, you can see the focal point of integration for immigrants. And a lot of times this isn't just for one group. So even if they are just helping one particular group, they have knowledge and access to other resources that may help a variety of people. CRIS, or Community Refugee and Immigration Services, is another local group, and they do a wide variety of things, from helping people connect to government resources to doing classroom instruction. And I know right now that they are doing virtual program instruction. So if ever your classes are full, other groups exist, you can send them that way. See specific English class and instruction, American culture, dress, childcare, all of those little things. Now, Chris with the library actually set up some students we work together on a grant. So we helped their students like learn work practices and such. So there's a lot of potential for cooperation and partnerships. Now, the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services has a lot of things specifically for new Americans, immigrants, and refugees. So here is just a screenshot of some of their services. See Refugee Service Home, the Advisory Council. There's even to-do sheets for refugee arrivals. So if ever anybody comes in and asks you questions, how do I start from ground zero? This is a great place to help find exactly what they need to do, the legal things that they might need to do, social services, just basic healthcare, that kind of thing. It can all help. The fact sheets that are produced by these and other groups are also handy and ready tools for you to just print out and hand off. So even if you didn't make it, if you think it can help somebody, this is why this stuff is available for free and accessible online so that you have access to these. Besides that, even if it's not social services, cultural groups, cultural organizations, often their beginning, the reason they're there in the first place was to help with these kind of things. So literacy, citizenship, health, just basic living resources. Here are some of the ones that are just simply around Columbus. And I know these are not all of them because I couldn't fit them all. So things like here is the Bhutanese community of Central Ohio, the Ohio Hispanic Coalition, and a quick Google search of, say, a country or an ethnic group, and then the word association can bring up many things. Even if they don't have a branch locally, that is if it's a state or even a national branch, they exist to help with this kind of information. I know as a grant writer, I do a lot of grants. I will contact institutions like these to say what are common things that they need help with that then I can address with either services, materials, or it'll help me write my grant. So I imagine a lot of people who are helping groups such as these are interested in grant writing, and folks like this have the info. Okay, so I'm going to speak specifically about the Westerville Public Library, but in general, the things that I am talking about are true for most libraries. Like all of us have this stuff and have these kinds of services. So at Westerville, it is literally built into our mission statement to be able to open the way for people to be able to come and use us. One of the problems that libraries have is that, one, public libraries don't exist everywhere. I know in some Latin American countries, public libraries exist, but it's for people with money because you have to pay to use it. In other systems, it is absolutely behind closed doors for either certain levels of society or just in academia. So one of the things that public libraries have to do is literally teach people about what an American library does, that they don't have to pay for the books, that we're not going to sell their information, things like that. So it is a pretty big hurdle with certain groups, depending on where they come from. So groups such as yours, any group who helps new Americans, this could be a really, really big tool, and it would help us a lot if that kind of information could be translated, because they won't even come here. They won't even come to public libraries without knowing, how American libraries work in the first place. So again, the vision statement, a lot of the same thing as we are here to help and to give access. It's kind of the basic principle of libraries. Now, for most libraries, in order to be able to, you can come into the library and browse all you want and use materials in the library without a card. And so if anybody is worried about giving away personal information, worried that maybe say they might not yet be legal, and they're worried that libraries will kind of essentially give them up to the authorities. So people can come in and use the library without having a library card. And that can be a nice thing to know. But otherwise, in order to take things home, if you're at home and want to access the electronic databases and language programs, things like that, a library card is needed. Now, as a policy, libraries don't share information unless it's by a court order. So just applying for a library card doesn't put anybody in any kind of database. but it does give them immediate access to everything the library has to offer. We do also, at the Westerville Library, we have these the application cards available in multiple languages. And at the beginning of the year, we'll go to schools where parents are bringing their kids in to sign up, and we'll come with a pile of these, hoping to reach the parents, because the parents are very interested in helping the kids. So that's a good place. So if you haven't done that, cooperating with schools to maybe offer services at the introduction phase at the beginning of the year is a good way to reach parents and adult audiences. Okay, now again, this is just at Westerville, but we have many, many, many books that are available in other languages. So if somebody has low English skills, they can still read items potentially in their language, or say they want, say there's a disconnect between teaching your kid to read and you wanted to learn in both. So the libraries will have multiple books for adults and kids in different languages. And almost every movie that we have is available with subtitles. And a library search will tell you whether or not that item has subtitles in a target language. So it's really amazing. You have somebody come over, they're kind of homesick, want to hear something in their own language. That is entirely possible with just the audiobooks and the movies. So it's pretty great. One of the important things for any new American to learn is that basically the basics of American culture. So I know there are things like individualism versus collectivism, and how people just think about basic things, from how you interact with, say, a shopkeeper, to hospital etiquette, to library etiquette, all of that. And it can be hard to learn or know what you're missing until you're in that situation. We have a couple of different databases that can help with that. One is Mango Languages. So it is a language program, and there are many, many on there that are specifically to learn English from a target language, like how to learn English if you speak Arabic, if you speak Swahili, any of that. It's amazing. But part of that lesson in Mango are the formal etiquette things. So in English, a big one with the Somali community with us was that they don't have a conditional tense. No, can I, may I, should, would, things that Americans consider to be basic politeness. Well, that form does not exist in that language. So a lot of people at work were experiencing it as rudeness until we learned that it just literally wasn't built into the language. And the opposite can be true about American mannerisms. And things like Mango Languages, Transparent Languages, and Culturegrams will give basic information about American customs, food, holidays, even basic etiquette. So it is all right there and laid out. And in Mango and Transparent Languages, again, that information can exist in their native language. Now, one of the biggest questions we get all the time for somebody's first step into the library is looking for English language classes. Now, at present, the library is not hosting any due to the pandemic. In non-pandemic times, non-plague times, we do offer a weekly ESOL class that is hosted by the Columbus Literacy Council. And that one's down here. Other places that are operating right now, if anybody is looking for it, the Delaware, I misspelled that, the Delaware Area Career Center, located on High Street, just as you cross from Franklin into Delaware County, they do offer adult language literacy classes for ESOL. Another one is the Godman Guild, and that is a private company. I'll call it a social services company. And again, they do offer both citizenship. Oh, Delaware too. They offer both citizenship and language classes. They will also do some basic job classes to help people get ready and maybe prep for resumes, interview skills, and things like that. It is very useful. The Columbus Literacy Council, which is located on Indianola in Columbus, they right now have moved everything to virtual. So they have various levels. So say somebody has essentially practical English, they're fine on a day-to-day basis, but they want to work on specific, getting it better, maybe starting to lose the accent, or even, again, basic job mannerisms that might help them find a job. The Columbus Literacy Council has degrees of classes that they can give to the public. And what happens is that somebody will take a test. at the CLC, and then they'll be assigned a level. Now, when the times for those, where they are, well, right now everything's virtual, but then somebody is assigned to a particular class level where then it's then assumed that you know certain amounts, and then class will follow after that. And those are free. So it's amazing. The Vineyard Community Center. Vineyard is a church. It's located on Cooper Road here in Columbus. They know that they have other locations, but they do also offer right now virtual ESOL classes for adult learners. So all of these right now are operating on a virtual level. There are more places that operate also in a classroom setting during non-plague times. Yeah, I'll say it like that. But the stuff still exists right now. Now, one of the big things that is needed for this is, of course, somebody needs to have a computer and internet access. So without those, if you speak to these different locations, sometimes that they will have lending materials so that somebody can take it home. The Westerville Library at this time also does have hotspots. So you can check out hotspots and take them home. So like check them out just like a book. And that's something that may be able to help with something like this. Okay. Oftentimes, one of the things that new Americans are most interested in is stuff for their kids. So if there's a way to anybody's heart, it is through their kids. And the library also has many, many material just for that. So Learning Express Library has things not only on topics, so say like their 4th grade tests and 5th grade tests, that kind of thing. So it has those specifically. We have a homework help center where people can meet with a virtual assistant and work one-on-one with the student. The others are databases that people can use and basically find help with any kind of get the background information to any school material that they might need. But again, the library itself, the librarian themselves can often help with things like this. Hello, Victoria. Is that somebody else in? If I could ask everybody to mute. This program is being recorded. Thank you. All right. Speaking of literacy, it's not only adults who need, language classes. A lot of times it's also the kids. So we do have specific juvenile literacy kits that combine, playing, singing, writing, all of these to kind of make it a multi-sensory endeavor. Now, oftentimes the schools, I know in Westerville, they absolutely do have an ESOL program where basically they'll pull kids aside throughout the day and help them catch up to where the other kids are, whether it's in information or, again, the kind of American, like mannerisms for school, how school is supposed to go, how you talk to teachers, how you talk to friends, because that can all be vastly culturally different. So these are the kind of things that they can learn not only at the library, but at school. If somebody is asking questions from you about, how can I help my kid do this? They should definitely speak to the school system. And there is generally an ESOL person, like designated for the school, where that's all they do. So they have built-in help and they want to be there. They're doing this on purpose. Same thing with the youth librarians. So at the library, you've got different departments. There's adult and youth, customer service, all of those. And each of those can help direct you to exactly what it is that you need. Now for adult literacy, there tends to be less stuff than this, like this in a library, but kids' books are this big. But these are just some of the tools that are available in the Westerville Library. But again, every library has this stuff. So books like English for Everyone, it is a course book. That's for that motivated self-learner. Or if you are helping somebody learn English, these act like textbooks for you to be able to help them. Oftentimes people might call you and say, do you have anything that can help? I can teach my friend English, things like that. Yes, we have those tools. And again, it's for various levels. So the side-by-side plus, book 4. So this is as people progress, as people say they have English down or they already came with English, then this kind of thing helps with, again, mannerisms, American customs, even basic transactions in restaurants, things like that. We also have, so in that section in the library is called Adult New Readers. We also have a lot of media. So this is an audiobook set for somebody who speaks Spanish who wants to learn English. So it isn't them trying to figure out the English and see if it's the right thing they need. This starts in Spanish and teaches them English. We have a bunch of those. And again, here's another version as for DVDs. So there's just so much stuff in the library. And the Westerville Library is a member of something called Search Ohio and Ohio Link. And what that is if we don't have something, I can access every academic library in Ohio and about 40 public ones and bring it in. So we don't have to have it. It can just, let's see if it'll let me. So here's an example. So if I start at the Westerville Library and I do a search for adult literacy, so it will show the things that we have. And if none of them are exactly what you're looking for, here is Search Ohio and Ohio Link. If I click on those, I'm in a special recording booth right now, and I think that's it. 1 second. Yeah. So here is Search Ohio. And again, I can get these from anywhere, essentially. And so that one we have. Let's do adult literacy. Or if you've seen something and you want it, but it's too expensive, skip buying it and ask if we'll buy it. We are always, always looking for stuff to buy for groups such as this, but it's hard to because there's so much material out there and some of it can be really expensive. We do not mind spending that big price tag, especially if it's endorsed by a local agency that will use it and direct people to it. That's exactly the kind of thing that we're looking for. So, but yeah, Search Ohio and Ohio Link can help you find even more things, way more things than we have. So here's the Westerville Library shelf. We've put these all in one area because generally if somebody is looking for English language or literacy, they're going to have a hard time sometimes with signage or us giving them directions, 5 shelves in to the left, things like that. So this is right on the floor. It is easy enough that we can point, especially if somebody has no English, we can take them right there. And all of the stuff is in one place. And again, generally this is true for every library. Now, besides literacy, there's also citizenship because, people have to take the test for that. So we do have an entire area dedicated to just citizenship material, and we have it in multiple languages and potentially the target language or their native language. We have it available both as DVDs and as CDs because some people will listen to it just fine, but maybe not be able to process it yet. So just getting the information is really important at the beginning. But all of these can be checked out. We also have almost all of these available as ebooks. So if somebody has a device, they can just check it out on their device, and every ebook, e-audiobook, thing like that automatically returns itself in 21 days. And that can be really important if somebody has transportation issues and maybe can't come easily back and forth to the library. So they come in, we set them up for ebooks, and then essentially they don't have to come back to the library until their card expires. So it can be really useful. Also, we have a database called Learning Express Library. This is also available just flat out through the state library, not the state library, Ohio Jobs and Family Services. They also have a link, and that's important if somebody absolutely does not want to get a library card. This resource is available through the state site itself without any kind of login. But as you can see here, here's a screenshot. They have practice citizenship tests. So I know I will take a practice test like 10 times before I ever take it because that's how I learn. And seeing what it's actually going to be like, it can be really helpful for people to either help allay anxiety or just, practice makes perfect. But this has both ebooks, tutorials, flashcards, a whole bunch of other stuff for the citizenship. All right. And then again, sometimes you'll have people who are going into college or taking some sort of education where they need to take a English as a second language test when they come in, like the TOEFL. Or they just need sometimes we'll have adults come in who have a degree in something from their native country, and they need to test for the American version. Well, we do have 500 plus study guides for this, either in books, in CDs, as databases, all of that. So a library, not just us, a library anywhere is going to have study information for basically any test that you can think of. And again, that study information will be practice tests, it'll be flashcards, that kind of thing, but it just gives somebody something to work on and to look at while they're studying for those tests. The NCLEX, which is the nursing test for Ohio, one of them, is very popular, very. Okay, other things that adults will often need is with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is sometimes also called lynda.com, and this is free. If you just go to lynda.com, it'll make you pay. But if you go through a library, any Ohio library, it is free. And the reason why I want to show this here is because here's going to make me log in. Is because these are all training videos on how to do basically anything, whether it's with software, but they also have very specific English things. So if somebody needs help with writing English, so like business English, ACT, American English tricks and traps, these kind of things. And you notice that they tend to be short. And this is good for both for anybody who might be having language problems, but also just small bites of information. You don't sit there through a 2-hour program and maybe lose the point after a couple of minutes. But see, adapting an English layout into Spanish within design, it is amazing. Things like this can be really helpful with job searches. See the video, adapting communication style of non-native English. So Matt, and it's just 2 minutes. So when somebody clicks on this, they can see the transcripts, they can read along with it, or they can just watch it. Whoop, that is quite loud. But yes, so you can see all of this. It has an amazing amount of material for people at all kinds of different levels. Now classes at the library, we do have tech classes. So we'll do Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, any of those. We also do job and resume classes, like practicing your interview skills. Right now, those are all being done virtually, but when everything's back in the building, we will have those as well. And there's one thing that I want to show you. So right now I'm on PowerPoint presentation, but one of the things that the library does, let's see if it'll let me do it. Sometimes it will automatically narrate. So sometimes I will want to, so there's a way that you can talk on this and then it will prompt you at the bottom. Let me go back to this. Sorry. So right now it's presenting. So if I go back to PowerPoint, and when I'm setting this up for the slideshow, here is subtitles. So spoken language is English, subtitle language. So say there's one person in my class who speaks another language, I can actually put this on. And let's see if it'll let me present. 1 second. I get the pop down from Zoom that's blocking my way. See a chat? You do not have to live in Westerville to have access to library resources. And actually get this, in the state of Ohio, if a library takes money from the state, every Ohioan has to be able to get a card legally. It's amazing. I have like 14 library cards. So yeah, it doesn't matter where you live in Ohio if it's a public library. But now let's present and let's see if it does I'm just going to talk and see if it shows up on the bottom. Oh, it doesn't. I'm on a Mac today and normally I'm on a PC. So when I present at the library, pardon me real quick, but basically I can have things subtitled at the bottom, and it is useful and amazing in other languages. And a lot of times it'll make or break whether or not somebody comes to the class, because you are trying to accommodate their needs. So now normally I'm presenting from online right now. Normally I am presenting from a regular laptop, and it works very, very well on that. Let's see if it does it. Sometimes I'll also do it in English, because you can have the words show up in English, and that'll help anybody who might have an auditory problem, or who really would rather read it than listen to you. So, and again, Learning Express Library has all of those tests, not only for, what is it called? Not only for the practice tests for things like the TOEFL or Citizenship, they also have, let's see if it'll take me there. Learning Express Library. Now, the things that I'm showing you, Learning Express Library, lynda.com, Culturegrams, those are available in Columbus, they're available in Bexley, just anywhere you can think of, they are all there. And the easiest way to find them is wherever you are, just type it into the search and it'll pop up. But here we are, Learning Express Library, and you'll notice, so see, career prep, job and career accelerators. Those are things like you can get little certifications or completion things for things like Word, Excel, Outlook, things like that. High School Equivalency Center. This can be a big one for adults who come to America as adults and need the GED. There's a lot of GED prep. So School Center, all ages. See, Build Your Math Schools, Skills, Better Reader, Speaking and Grammar, all of this stuff. This is all on here for free. They can access it as many times as they want. It's really amazing. Now, the library site itself, I'm going to go back to Westerville Library. I can type. I can't type. I'm so sorry. Let's try that again. There we go. So the Westerville Library actually has a language translator. And right here, two of our largest user groups speak Somalian and Spanish. So at a click of a button, I have changed our entire site into, it's now readable by somebody who only has Somali. Now, you notice up here, that's because we've integrated a Google Translator, and I'm not limited to those two. So if I'm trying to show somebody something, then a lot of times I'll switch it over to whatever it is that they need, so that they can, even if they speak English, a lot of times seeing something in your native language, it's easier to retain if it's given to them in their native language. And I can still navigate this with it, mainly because I'm familiar with it. But I'll switch this between whatever somebody needs to get the job done. So I know the same thing can be true with other sites. If you are working with Chrome, so just Chrome in general, Chrome has a built-in language translator. And I believe I am on Chrome right now. So if you go into settings, this is a library computer, so it is not integrated into it. But if you have Chrome on your own computer, you can set up the Google Translate function to work at any point. So it's really amazing and a useful and free tool. Okay. Now, the other thing the library is very good for is access. Because if somebody is lower income and they don't have access to the technology, to Wi-Fi, things like that, and they, right now, so much stuff is being done virtually, like social services, anything like that needs to be done with a computer. They can come to the library, and we have a computer lab that is free to use. Right now, printing is also free. So if they need forms, if they need a resume, anything like that, the library is open and available. And one of the biggest selling points to that is that we're here to help. It's a different thing if, you can say, go to the library and somebody will help you. And that is true. We will help them get library cards, set them up, find what they need, make sure they have what they need before they leave the door. That's literally why we're here. But this gives them access, the computer lab gives them access to a lot of stuff that they need. Or have you ever had a software program that you wanted or needed but couldn't afford? I do. And I'll just use it at work because the library has it or bought it. So you can see we have a lot of popular software things that can just give anybody access if it's prohibitive elsewhere. Okay. Yes, again, the technology training. So one of the biggest things with lynda.com, I'll go back to Lynda. This is one of the databases through the library, is basic Microsoft. Wow, I can't type. Microsoft. So if somebody needs help learning essentially anything software-wise or tech-wise, that information is going to be in here. So here's just Word. And you notice over here it has skill level. It can go, duration, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, less than 1 hour. So anything that maybe you aren't able to give right now that normally you would, or if somebody just can't get to the library because of work schedules, they work third shift and they're just not going to make it, this stuff is still available. Word tricks and tips. Here's Outlook. And the reason why I'm showing Word and Outlook are because these are common things that, workers, that potential hires are really looking for people that have skills in this kind of thing. So Outlook 2019 essential training. There's even stuff for basic Google searching. Google Ads, Google Sites, any of this. If you know anybody who is looking to do their own business, trying to be an entrepreneur, this is completely filled with everything from budgeting to marketing, all of that. It's amazing. So I sell this to entrepreneurs all the time because I'm like, do you want to train your staff but don't have a budget? Here you go. All right, I do want to put a plug in for this because the information just came out today. So the FCC is starting something at the end of April. It's the emergency broadband benefit. So this used to be known as the Obama phone, where people would get the little flip phone to give them, to basically connect them with people and put a phone in their hand. That is starting up once more at the end of April, but this time it includes a hotspot. So if you know anybody who does not have access to the internet, at the end of April, there's now a federal program that will basically sign them up for one for free. They'll get a hotspot and a phone. So see more information. Again, this is the FCC and it's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit. Tell everyone you know. All right. So one of the most common questions that people get, and there are entire side agencies built specifically for this, is to help people find jobs. So at the library, again, we do the resume classes, we do interview skills, we do free resumes, and give people access to computers to be able to both find jobs online, sign up, access email, all of the things that are necessary to help people find jobs. So as I'm speaking to the people who help people, here are some of the things that in general, people who are looking for a job, these are the things that they need nowadays. They need an email, okay? So people will come in all the time, say they need to do something, but they don't have an email. We will set one up. The library will set them up with an email. They need a phone number. Now, if somebody doesn't have access to a specific phone number, they should, there are some agencies, and see if they have a friend, just find somebody, family or friends, who has a phone number who would not mind getting that, essentially the job callback. Whatever it is that they're trying to do, a lot of times a little list of the things that they're looking for. So if somebody is looking for, say, a receptionist job, things like Microsoft Word, patient, good phone skills, things like that. Or if somebody wants to work in a factory, timely, just all the words that might apply to whatever job that they're looking for. So on time, organized, works well with others. Having those kind of things in the repertoire just written down, ready to go for whenever they sit down in front of an application can go a long way. Most places will need a resume and a cover letter, but they want them electronically. So For us, this means we'll set somebody up with a template they basically just fill everything in. And we'll even change it because in Microsoft Word, you can translate an entire document. So we'll translate it to their language, have them fill everything in, and then switch it back to English. But then save it to a PDF and email it to yourself. A lot of people are looking for disks or flash drives, and that is one way to do it. But by far the easiest way that we found to make sure people have this when they need it is to email their completed resume as a PDF to themselves so that they can access it at any time when they're near a computer or even a lot of times on their phone. And references. So a lot of times people will be like, well, what's a reference? Well, when they're sitting down and working this stuff out, teaching people that a reference, number one, a reference knows that they're a reference. Can I put you down as a reference? Sometimes it'll be locations such as the offices that are helping them, social services, and the immigration groups, things like that will sometimes serve as references, especially if somebody's been acting as a teacher. Nobody knows better than them how they have progressed or their abilities in certain areas. But either you're being willing to be such a reference or helping them find them and making sure that, again, that stays like in their email ready to go, can really help people find jobs. All right. So if somebody is looking for a resume, when you go online and look for it, a lot of time you'll find them, but it's convoluted. You have to sign up for things. They're not free, things like that. But there are free resume and cover letter templates on all of these applications. So Google Docs, again, if you have a Gmail, if you make a free Gmail account, Google Docs is automatically included in the Drive portion. Now, Microsoft Word can be accessed for free if you make a OneDrive account, and OneDrive is free. OneDrive is Microsoft's equivalent to Gmail's Drive. So all of these things are free. Anybody can have access to and get used to things like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all of that through either Google Docs or OneDrive. And again, it is just a free sign up. Okay. If somebody is looking to build specific job skills, OhioMeansJobs.com. So that website has classes. Right now they're having a lot of virtual classes. They have little checklists, a lot of things that you can, I'll pull it up, Ohio Means Jobs. And of course, everybody I'm speaking to today probably already knows this exists. Ohio Means Jobs. There we go. So people need to create an account. But basically, these folks will help you find a job. It'll create alerts for employers, for job seekers, and it'll help match people up. So see, there's funding. A few more. There's just a lot of resources in this one place. And this is a government institution, and they spend money on this. They will even make grants. So if your institution where you work, if you are helping somebody and you are looking for partnerships, even sometimes for grant money, Ohio Means Jobs in the state of Ohio is a great place to check. Even just picking up the phone and saying, I do this, is there any way to partner or get funds? And sometimes they might even put you directly on this as a partner. So see, like here's a work assessment. Where are you right now and what do you need to do? It's really useful. There's lynda.com. So again, that is the how-to database training tutorials. Learning Express Library for the practice tests, for the job skills, things like that. And then this one, the testing and education, this is actually through the Columbus Library. And it is their version of Learning Express Library. So again, it's the practice tests, be it for school or for specific jobs or for citizenship. All of that is there as well. And oftentimes, Columbus actually has like 40 locations in the Columbus area, and Westerville has one building. So if you are near a library, they have got all of this or some version of it. Just ask the librarian. I do also want to make a plug for Google has a built-in specific job help, and it's called Google Applied Digital Skills. And there are these little classes that you can take. You sign up and then you take these little classes. So things, as you can see, like communicate effectively at work, start a resume, how to use Google to find a job, just all of these little things that can increase somebody's chances at success, whether it's interpersonal relationships and interactions or getting a job and keeping it. It is very useful. All right, and then shameless plug, the librarians. So libraries, this is what we do, and we work here on purpose. So sending people our way is something that we actively want everybody to do. Or if you need help, you're trying to find a resource, locate something, you can't figure out a formula in Excel, anything like that, call the library. There's a reason why librarians have to have master's degrees, because we are masters at searching for stuff, finding things. But we will help you find it. We will give classes. Right now, we're even doing one-on-one Zoom calls. So especially if we both want to look at the screen at the same time, Zoom is a great resource for let's pull this up and look at it together. And again, the tech access and help. There's stuff in the building that is prohibitive for middle-class people to buy, but we have it and it's accessible to everybody. All right. Also, again, here's the thing for business owners and entrepreneurs. We have a lot of databases that cost kind of millions of dollars, and it's an amazing resource. So things like Reference USA or A to Z, if you were in any kind of group that helps somebody else, this can help you find associations, centers, distributors, anything that you might need to help you do your business. New Wave Legal Documents is a database that we have. If you've ever gone to a lawyer to get it just a simple form, or you've had to buy it online, rethink that one next time, because libraries do have access to legal forms databases where you just fill it in, either on the site itself or you download the blank form. And oftentimes they will be Ohio specific, which is fantastic. So the LinkedIn Learning and Lynda are the same thing. But all of these are big tools for businesses, individuals looking to start a business, anything like that. If you are not aware, there is also a website called Ohio Legal Help. And this one is amazing. And I would say one of the reasons these folks came about, it's only a couple years old, is because of the large influx of immigrants and non-natives for their legal purposes. They made it very, very simple to use, kind of click and play. So if you have somebody gets on here and they just click a couple of things like yes or no questions, one at a time questions. So let's say you are in subsidized housing. And it gets very specific because the answers to questions like these can vary depending on where you are in the state. It can be very local. So let's say Columbus. What it'll do is it will, as you can see, they're going step by step, but they'll give you links. I'm gonna go back one. And phone numbers. Because see, the answers will differ sometimes depending on how much you make, how many people are there, and but they'll give you understanding the basics, forms and letters, legal help and lawyers, direct links to those who might be able to help. So whether it's you or somebody that you were trying to help, this can be a very big deal. And again, they tried to make it as simple as possible so that people are only dealing with one question at a time. And librarians were actually part of the creation tools. So yes, again, here is the Reference U and the A to Z. Those are just databases. Now I use these once I was trying to find people of a certain ethnic group in the community so that I could do target marketing. Reference USA and A to Z will actually help you find where they live in the community so that you can do things like direct marketing. It's amazing. We also have a database called Small Business Resource. So I would say the majority of people who come in who are entrepreneurs who are just looking to start, from scratch, many of the ones that I've helped are new Americans. They're taking the bull by the horns and just going for that new business, and things like small business resources. It'll give you custom, what is it called? Business proposals. So it'll give you templates for writing a business proposal that you can then take to the bank or the venture capitalists and just help plan things. It's really amazing. There are also tutorials and access to legal books, all on this one reference. So again, all of these things, well, not all of them, some of them you don't need a library card, but a lot of them, tax prep resources. Tax prep resources are, so somebody asks, what about tax prep resources? Those are, one second, that is a common question from the library. And that is often based off of income and location. So we'll often create lists like this. And on the IRS site, they have, so here is free tax help. This is from the IRS. And where normally we will have people come in and help here at the library, again, COVID times, that is not happening right now. But say somebody is willing to go within 50 miles of Westerville. See, there's the Godman Guild showing right up at the top. But then it'll also show local area places. It'll give locations, phone number, and see appointment required, not required. This one will show the different languages. So here's the Christian Valley Missionary Baptist Church. Will help you in all of these languages. So this can be really helpful. Otherwise, if you call the IRS directly or go to the website, there are language specific, not gov. There are language specific things that they can do. So depending on what they speak. But yeah, really, this from the IRS site will show you where within your local area somebody can go to get help. And notice the phone numbers are there. It gives directions, all of that. So go IRS. Boy, I never say that, but still, that's useful. All right, but somebody coming in to get a library card, I have had entire conversations with people using Google Translate. So they do not need to speak English. All of our computers turn around. And if you've ever struggled to talk with somebody, let's go with one that I at least recognize. So you can even hit this and speak. Hello, how are you today? Nope, let's do it. And we'll sit there and pass the keyboard back and forth and just have entire conversations through this. And I'm also a notary, and I've done a couple of this where basically we get as far as we can, and then I need to start using Google Translate. But, I'm a notary. All I need to do is see their ID. I don't actually need to know what the document says. But yeah, Google Translate, if you are not using it, but you've been in this situation, please use it. Because even if it is a bad translation, like what we would think of as pidgin English, but in their language, it doesn't matter. Communication is about being able to exchange the idea or the concept. And if somebody's there talking to you and they're willing to risk it, I'm sure that'll be fine. Okay. Okay, so there are many, many different ways to help new Americans. And some of you out there are doing this and much more, like the nitty gritty stuff and helping people in their individual lives, and good for you. But we are here to help. Any library out there, not just the Westerville Library, but any library has the materials and resources and the staff to be able to help with little things and get people what they need to get them to where they need to be. All right, well, thank you very much for coming. And does anybody have any questions or comments or a resource that I didn't mention that you want to make sure that everybody knows about? I'm keeping an eye on chat. And FYI, this will be recorded. So I will go ahead and send this to everyone. If you would like to share it with people at will, by all means, go ahead. This will be on the library YouTube page, and the link that I give you will go to that once I edit it a bit. And your chats and or faces, if you happen to appear, do not appear. Okay, and right now you can sign up for a library card online. We are currently mailing them. So, all right. Well, thank you. And I'm glad everybody managed to make it, and just come in and talk to us sometimes if there is any kind of partnership that you or another group would like to do with the library, because we will take stuff off site. You know, we're glad to partner. Just hit us up. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. And you guys have a good day. Get out there and enjoy the sunshine. Bye.